Okay, let me ask you something. How many times have we cast out, caught a bass, cast back out again to the same spot and catch another one? How many times have we watched as we reeled a fish in and see 1, 2, or more fish swimming with it? Now, with two lures being swam at the same time, there's always the fun, excitement, and opportunity to catch another fish when you have one hooked with this thing. You've got that chance. Of course, I hadn't done it today, but I've still got that opportunity. And I'm a-trying. Stats show most bass anglers fish the shorelines, and the double up, being an ideal shallow water rig, will allow all fishermen to play in the double rig game. They can use it on their spin cast or open face spinning equipment and not have to invest in or learn how to use new equipment unless they really want to. The double up is castable on most outfits. Little spunky thing, a little fat pretty one too. Come on back here. Come on. Come here. Come up here. I don't have to reach as far with this wire. I just pull them up with the wire. Pull them up with the wire. There we go. You can tell he's been eating shad. Hadn't you? Hadn't you been eating shad? Yes, you have. Time to say bye. See ya. You'd think as many bass as I saw on the graph, you'd think every time I threw it out there, I'd catch two. All I'm doing is just kind of fan casting. Let me tell you what, I'm gonna show you an illustration of what I've got here. I've got a point that runs straight out here and drops off. It goes down into about 15, 16 feet. It comes right back up on another point right over there. It runs out and drops off, and then it drops off, goes down, across about 15, 16, and comes up on another point. And those bass are suspended right in between these 2 points and that point going down through there. And they've got these shad minnows busted up in between this point and this swag here, over that point and down into that swag there. And then it runs a long way down through there, all the way down through that canal, all the way down through there. And there's not any other key structural features. You know, I keep repeating myself, but I think this is important. When you're trying to mimic a school of bait fish, you can cast 2 grubs, 2 spinner baits, 2 crankbaits, 2 rattling baits, even 2 topwater baits if they're close to the surface. When doing this, like I said earlier, I prefer to keep my lures identical. Now, when you're trying to establish what might be the best lure in a certain depth and location you're fishing, you might experiment with 2 completely different lures. Maybe try a grub and a crankbait, or a worm and a swim bait. Maybe a stick bait and a rattle bait. You just want to mix it up. Just try different stuff. And then find out what they zero in on. And if you catch a couple of fish on the same bait, then put 2 of them on. Woo! The rig. Nice one. Yes, you are. See ya. Someone asked me not long ago, can you fish one deep? Yep, you sure can. All you gotta do is add an egg weight to your line and let her go. I've caught suspended bass on it as well as bass on the bottom. You know, I mentioned this earlier, but it's important to mention it again. You want to keep in mind that some lures will overpower one another, and that's something you need to experiment with. Example, if you're fishing a 3/16 ounce grub on one arm and a square lip crankbait on the other, the double up will pull through the water column in a vertical position. Now, if you got it rigged with 2 identical lures, the pull, weight, and pressure would be the same. Therefore, the rig would ride in a horizontal position. And this might be very, very important depending on where you're casting it. All right, open up. No, you big rascal. There we go. Nice. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. See ya. Woo! Okay, let me show you a couple of things. When I'm fishing open water, like I've been doing, I like to use matching baits, like I said, like this. But what you can do, you can experiment. If you want to use a crankbait and a grub, you can do that. Find out, sometimes you'll find out they might want a crankbait over a grub. You can use a minnow plug. You can do different type things. When you run it like this, you're gonna run it in a vertical position versus a horizontal position, because the pivot point on this bait is gonna put more pressure and it's gonna ride like this through the water column. Now, when you're fishing in vegetation, you might wanna use a little bit tougher baits, like use a weedless type weighted hook, like I've got right here. And what I do a lot of times when I'm fishing in vegetation, I use a saltwater grade bomber mud minnow. It's a lot tougher than a hollow bodied swim bait. And you can fish it around cover, like stumps and treetops and different forms of heavier cover. But that's another trick that you can do, fishing around submerged vegetation and so forth. But the multitude of ways that you can rig the double up are just really unlimited. But it's a highly effective bait, as you can see. Oh, pretty thing. Oh, come on back here. Easy, slide up here on my hand. Don't jump, don't jump. Oop, got a hook in the... Look at that. Woo! See ya. Well, like we've been saying, the great thing about the double up is you can use any baits you want. The combinations are endless. The idea is that you're mimicking a small school of bait. Now, if you really want to have some fun and try something totally different, give one a fling.
Now I've gone fishing with Bill Dance today.